Hey, this one's gonna be some hard family drama. Ethical boundaries are gonna get crossed. Here we go.
I'm a 34-year-old woman named Talia, and I've been divorced from my ex-husband Damien for 4 years. We have twin daughters, Aria and Kenzie. They're 9 now. We had a 50-50 custody agreement, a legal and physical. No primary parent. Everything was supposed to be even. That was the agreement when we sat in front of the judge. That was what Damien promised in court and in front of our girls. And for the first few months after the divorce, he stuck to it. Then he met Alora. He married her 6 months later. She had this polished, put-together vibe. Her background was in public relations, and she used to work for a lifestyle magazine. She was beautiful in a way that looked permanent, like every strand of hair had its designated place. She immediately started this blog about modern family dynamics and curated an Instagram page for their life. Family brunches, parenting tips, co-parenting posts. Everything had this glowing filter over it. A neat little story of how love fixed everything. I didn't care. Not at first. I wasn't following their account, and the girls were adjusting all right. Until one afternoon, Aria came home with a craft project from school. It was a family tree. My name was missing. She said she wasn't allowed to include me on the family page because I wasn't in their house. When I asked what that meant, she shrugged and said Alora said I didn't want to be involved anymore. That was the start. Damien started skipping updates, school announcements, doctor appointments, things we were supposed to coordinate on. When I'd follow up, he'd claim he forgot or that he thought I didn't mind. Once or twice I let it go. Then it became a pattern. One day I asked if he had signed Aria up for a piano recital without telling me. He said Alora had it handled and didn't think I needed to be there. I started documenting everything. Every missed communication. Every comment from the girls. Every post Alora made that showed my daughters on that perfect Instagram feed with captions like thankful for our beautiful complete family. Aria and Kenzie began saying things that made my skin crawl. Or that I left them. That Alora was their real mom now. That real moms don't leave. They were 9. They weren't making that up on their own. When Damien withheld the girls on one of my weekends, no notice, no explanation, I went to court. I brought the documentation, texts, calendar logs, screenshots of the blog where Alora posted about how to help kids move on from a broken home. The judge didn't need much convincing. He reaffirmed the custody agreement and gave Damien a formal warning. He said next time there'd be consequences. The girls were with me the following weekend, but it felt like I wasn't really there. They barely spoke, wouldn't hug me, wouldn't eat the breakfast they used to beg for. Aria asked if she could sleep with her real mom instead. Kenzie called me Talia when she asked for a glass of water. They'd never done that before. At a school open house, Alora introduced herself to the teacher as Aria and Kenzie's mom, not stepmother, not bonus mom, just mom. I corrected her once, politely. She gave me a smile that didn't touch her eyes and said, "Oh, I thought you weren't really in the picture anymore." Damien didn't say anything, just stood there looking at his phone. I kept showing up. Every pickup, every school event, every weekend, even when they treated me like a stranger. My therapist said the only way through it was to stay steady. So I did, even when it felt like banging on a locked door. Then a mutual friend, someone I hadn't spoken to in a while, tagged me in an Instagram story. I don't think she meant anything by it, probably just assumed I'd want to see the girls in the pictures, but I wasn't supposed to know they were there. It was a sneak peek of a family photo shoot, everyone dressed in white and beige, smiling by the lake. A caption written in gold script, "Our unbreakable bond." There were the girls, front and center, with Alora and Damien holding their hands. Alora was holding Kenzie like she was hers, like she gave birth to her. Damien had his arm around Aria, who was holding a sign that said love makes a family. I wasn't in a single frame. I hadn't even known it was happening. No one told me. No one asked. It was on my weekend. I checked the date. Damien had picked them up for a birthday party. That was what he said. A lie. I took a screenshot. Several, actually. I sent them to my lawyer. I had to breathe through my anger because I knew what would happen if I exploded. Damien would twist it into me being unstable. Alora would blog about it. I'd get another post titled Co-Parenting with Narcissists. Probably with a stock photo of a screaming woman. I didn't scream. I didn't reply. I started planning because I had the court order. I had the legal custody agreement. I had dates, logs, evidence. And I had one more thing. I knew where the full photo shoot was happening next weekend. And this time I was going to show up. The same night I saw the photo shoot teaser, I called Damien. Straight to the point, I asked why I wasn't informed, why the girls missed my weekend, why they were in a public shoot I didn't approve. He barely let me finish before saying it was just a few pictures for our page, nothing serious, and not worth the fuss. I reminded him it was my custody weekend. He said I was making everything about legalities again and hung up before I said another word. So I texted Alora. I asked if she realized what they were doing violated the custody agreement. No reply, just a read receipt that stayed there for hours. I followed up. She blocked me. 3 days later, the full photos dropped. On Instagram. On their blog. On her YouTube channel. On a post that had "Meet My Family" in the title. Alora wrote a long caption describing her journey to becoming the mother of 2 beautiful twin girls. Every picture had her in the center, holding my daughters, kissing their foreheads, holding hands. Damien barely appeared in the album. It was curated to look like Alora had raised them on her own. No mention of me. I printed every screenshot. I brought them to my lawyer that same week. She filed for an emergency mediation hearing the next morning. The violation was clear. Missed custody weekend. Unauthorized use of my children's images in a commercial capacity. And misrepresentation of legal guardianship. And misuse of their names. That weekend, the girls were dropped off. It was obvious they didn't want to be there. Aria walked in, dropped her overnight bag on the couch, and sat on her phone. Kenzie didn't even hug me. I tried to get them to help me make their favorite lasagna. They both said they weren't hungry. Aria said they only came because Dad said we had to. When I offered to call him, they refused. Said they didn't want to talk to him. I asked if they missed him. They shook their heads. Kenzie said, "We miss Mom." I paused and asked who she meant. She looked down at her sneakers and whispered, "Alora." They didn't join me for movie night. Didn't want to go for ice cream. They spent most of the evening in their room, lying in bed scrolling through Alora's page on the iPad. At one point, I heard Arya correcting Kenzie about how Alora curled their hair better than I ever did. I didn't.
That's starting to get petty. Okay, here's the thing about this one. I'm not a woman. I'm not a mom. I'm not divorced. So I don't have a lot of right to speak on this stuff. So this is going to be, I'm only going to guess that most of the people that's going to be in the comments are going to be girl moms, divorced single mothers, and such and such. So I'm going to let y'all do all the talking. Let's get the conversation started.